You can watch me go, cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can watch me go, cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can watch me go, cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can watch me go, cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me.
Hello. Let's just make sure that everything is where it needs to be. Hope we're all doing well this evening, folks. That is us. We are back. It is that FPL lounge. The doors are open. You're all welcome to pop in and say hello. Geez, oh, Buna, there's a good few folk in here already. Must be the guests we've got on this evening. This is that FPL show that lets you, the audience, just clear your minds of any troubles that you've got with regards to FPL. Not only ask us two Muppets any questions that's on your minds, but more importantly, ask the guest that we've got on the show. It's just a little relaxed view for the next hour or so, having a look ahead, I think, at the next game week. So just chill out, relaxed, and get yourself involved. If you want to come into the Discord, we've now stuck it right at the top of the chat, so follow that, sit in the waiting room, and Boona or I'll drag you in and you can chat live to the guest. I can't do the show myself. Let's get the guy in that prefers to see EO not as effective ownership, but as an excellent opportunity. It's FPL Boona. Hello, pal.
Good evening, mate. How are we all?
I'm doing a lot better today, I'll tell you. Got my jab on Tuesday, so I'm...
Yeah, you got injected?
Yes. Boona injected me. So I'm 78% immune now. But
how does that work?
My God, it absolutely floored me yesterday, though. But I'm glad I'm here. I wouldn't have missed this for the world.
Your maths are as bad as your pronunciation, aren't they?
Oh, yes.
Mate, well, what a nice break it's been, though. I've thoroughly enjoyed having this time off, if I'm completely honest.
Yes. Do you know, I don't think I hardly watched any international football either.
Yeah, me neither.
I just totally took a break and a step back. But let's not keep our guest waiting any longer, shall we? Will we get him in?
Yeah, bring him in, mate.
Okie dokie.
Don't try not to put everyone asleep, though, this time.
Well, I'll try my best. This evening we have joining us the hard-working, multi-talented Italian stallion. Not only is this man an author of a bestseller in the top 1% FPL Finnish Secrets, he's a regular show panellist stroke presenter on the official FPL show. He's also across a lot of the social media platforms hosting and co-hosting many an FPL content show. It's a wonder where he finds the time to walk that dog and fleet at the same time. He's the guy that's so well received in the community that he could convince me to just bring in Martinelli and I wouldn't even batter an eyelid. Please give a lounge warm welcome, with over 11,000 followers on Twitter, one of the kindest FPL content creators on the platform, the one and the only, Gianni Buttice. Good evening.
Hello, mate. Hello, how are you doing? Thank you, Stevie, for that intro. I think that's possibly the best intro I've ever had, and I feel like there should have been some Rocky music behind it. And in my head, I was just running up those steps in Philadelphia, and there I am now, like cheering. Come on, I'm pumped.
So you're doing well? You're sounding good?
Yeah, mate. Like you guys, I've really enjoyed having a little break. I must admit, I flirted with a few England games, and I watched Italy. 3 wins in 7 days was useful, but yeah, barely thought about FPL for sort of 10 days, which has been lovely. I did tell myself the international break, I was like, I'm not going to go on. I'm going to try and stay off Twitter. And actually, that didn't happen. But do you know what? It was nice being on Twitter and not thinking about what transfers I'm doing, just being on Twitter for the crack, which is what you enjoy about it. Yes. And actually, only today have I started thinking about FPL, which is quite nice.
No, I'm the same. And Boona, you sound like you're similar. You've just taken a total step back.
Mate, honestly, I tell you what, I've had some crazy thoughts over this 2 weeks period, like thinking like, do I even want to play FPL moving forward and stuff like that? Because genuinely...
Oh, wait, man, that was an April Fool's joke. If ever I'd seen one this morning.
No, that's not April Fool's. On this occasion, I've been deadly serious. I'm not often serious. But honestly, I've really enjoyed it. Just not having to play the game and like get stressed out about it. Maybe I just needed that time off. But moving forward, I do want to give my transfers and my time to FPL, like, I want it to reduce a little bit, if I'm completely honest. I'm getting too serious. I always get worked up.
Jeez, what's happened to you over this last 7 days?
Maybe it's the season I'm having.
Well, yeah. That could. Well, I was obviously.
By the way, you missed out on one big thing in the introduction. I can't believe you didn't use that opportunity to comment on Gianni's beautiful hair. Like, how can you do that? Who does that?
Well, you've done it now.
I'll take it. Do you know what? I'm getting to the point where the barbers I know are open in like a week or two, and I'm thinking I've got to the point where it's so long now, and it looks so shit. I'm thinking I'm getting towards the point where there's going to be some sort of Twitter poll. I'm going to have a mad rush of blood, and I'm going to go Twitter poll. What should I do with my hair? Dye it blonde, shave it off, go for the man bun, go for the top knot, like all these options, and I'm like, I'm thinking, have I got the minerals to go through with it? But I'm getting to the point where I might just do it. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that, because I'm fed up. I'm fed up with it. It's not looking as good as it has in the past. Put it that way.
Talking of top knots, I noticed FPL Mate's in this evening. Good evening to you, pal. Hope you're doing well. Say hello to a few people and then we'll crack on. Actually, for people that might be new here, let's just kind of give a bit of a background. Gianni's well aware what happens, but there's a few questions that we typically ask all our guests that come in. Bunad's then got a good few questions that he's received via Twitter, and obviously you guys and girls that are in the chat this evening or want to join us live on air, you can do, and we'll try and get through as much as we can within the next hour. But as I say, before we kick off, Buna, with our questions, you want to say hello to a few people?
Yeah, brilliant. So we've got our regulars in the chat. We've got Nihal, we've got TC, Andrea, Steffi, Mohammed, Hisham, Team, Rupert S. Erskine, sorry. Got Sam Pile, Anand, FPL Mate. Nice to see you, pal. FPL Sparta, who's now a member. I don't even not a member. He's a mod. When did you make him a mod?
During the week.
Okay, brilliant. Welcome to the moderation team, FPL Sparta. A March, and there's a few others in there. But yeah, welcome all.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Gianni, let's get stuck straight in about it. Buna, do you want to just kick off then?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So, Gianni, first question I tend to ask most FPL managers how did you get into FPL and when was that?
Yeah, so I think it was 2007, maybe 2007-8 season. I was second year at uni, showing my age there, and I was just watching football with all the guys we used to watch football with on like a weekend in the what was it called? Not common room. I can't think of the student bar. And
Student Union, SU.
SU, that's it. As if I forgot that. God. That is showing my age. Yeah, so I'm in the SU, and one of my best mates, Banger, aka Luke, he was like, there's this game out that I play, and none of you lot play it, but you're all massive football fans, so I have no idea why. And he was like, it's called Fantasy Football. And I'd heard about Fantasy Football from like the old newspaper games and stuff like that. I knew about Dream Team, which at the time was in the Sun, but I never played them. And I was like, okay, it's all on a website. You pick your team. And I'm not someone that's into gaming at all. Like, I've never owned a PlayStation or an Xbox. I've never played like all my mates used to play FIFA at uni, and I used to love it. Like, I'd watch them, and I used to just enjoy watching them. But I played it once. I was rubbish at it, so I never really played it. And we used to have like 50p bets on like the outcome of games and stuff. And I was there more for the crack of just watching them tear their hair out than actually playing it. So I was like, yeah, I think, do you know what? I think I've stumbled across my game here. This is FPL. It's not a video game, but it uses real life football, and your scores are based kind of on your knowledge of football. And at the time, there wasn't all these third-party websites where you got stats. It was kind of, if you knew football and you watched a lot of games and you understood it, then you picked the right players and you got the points off the back of it. So it was a more simple game back then, if you like, because there was no third-party support, right? So I played it, and we had a mini league, and there's still that mini league right now that all of us kind of play in. There's 6 of us. It's called the Pentagon. Randomly, there's 6 of us, and it's me and my best mates at uni, and we're still my best mates to today. And I take a lot of pride in winning that mini league when I have done. I'm all in it for mini league success. I only discovered overall rank a couple of years ago, but yeah, I mean, I've got a good record in that mini league, and this season I'm 5th out of 6th. And it's killing me. Like, I couldn't care about all the negative comments you'll get for team reveal videos I do because of my rank. All I care about is winning that mini league, and I am absolutely getting battered by my best mate Toby, who is winning it this season.
You and Toby's relationship on Twitter is so funny.
Yeah, like, we have a massive rivalry, and he'll bang on about being ahead of me, and he's smashing me. Like, he'll probably get a top 10k finish this year, but all I have to do is to remind him every time he does that is I'm 10-13 in 13 seasons. I've beaten him 10 times, so whatever he comes at me with, I'm just like 10-13, mate.
So like that, thank you very much for giving us a bit of an insight there on how you got involved in FPL itself. A lot of people have been asking me via the DMs this week to ask you, how did you get involved in the whole presenting side of it? Like, how did that opportunity come about?
Yeah, do you know what? I've always been like a really interested presenter. I studied broadcast journalism, and my first job out of uni was like working as a local sports reporter at BBC Radio Gloucestershire. So you can imagine the sport in Gloucestershire isn't like top line football. I was going to Forest Green Rovers and Cinderford Rugby and occasionally Gloucester Rugby if I was lucky. So I'd done that, and then I'd kind of started working in shopping television off the back of that because I wanted to move to London. And I was like, yeah, I can go work in TV. And in shopping television, I met Jules Breach. Now, Jules obviously presents the FPL show now, but when I knew her 10 years ago, you know, she was a young budding presenter.
Yeah.
And her journey has kind of escalated to kind of local radio off the back of that, or Brighton Sports Radio, and then getting on BT Sport and working for the Premier League. So I just kept in contact with her, and I'd always watched the FPL show with her and Mark Suddens, and I was like, this was my one bit of FPL content that I consume. I don't know, so you're going back 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'd watch that every Thursday night, and I'd said to her, Jules, you know that I'm like an interested sort of presenter because, you know, I'd worked with her at Bid TV, and I was like, any chance you can maybe get me on the show at some point? And she was like, I'd love to. I probably need you to do something credible because we can't just have randoms in the studio. And I was just a random, right? I weren't on Twitter. I didn't do anything. And I was like, look, I'm thinking about writing this book. If I write a book about FPL and you like it and you show it to the producer, maybe you can get me in. So she did that. She was like, yeah, I can get you in for one show. And if you're impressed, they might have you back. So this was going back, I don't know, just over a year ago. And they got me in and it was brilliant. And since then, yeah, the rest is history. I'm in a couple of times a month and I absolutely love it.
Perfect.
Bid TV.
But I was. I'll let you
Yeah.
go.
TV,
Bruno.
is
I'll
this
let
like
you go.
Price drop TV, Bid TV, that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Mate,
So
Gianni,
No way.
Gianni's the whole reason why I've
I've
got
got
like.
a bite from one of them too. I can't remember which one it was.
Do you know that? So they were the same channel, right? So on Freeview, channel 18 was Bid, and on channel
Yeah.
32, I think it was Price Drop. It was from the same studio, and it was all the same staff. We just had two channels, and the products were often the same.
I knew I'd
the-
seen your face
Insane,
before.
mate.
That's
So
what-
how many years back are we talking about? I'm gonna have to go pull up the videos.
No, it was 2011 to probably 13. I was there. But yeah, I was actually a producer, so I was in the ear of the presenter. Jules Breach, of course, was an assistant presenter at the time, and I did do some presenting when I had to step in for like someone was off sick or whatever. But yeah, mate, it was quality. It was a really cool concept. The price genuinely would drop based on demand on the phone line. So at times,
insane.
I remember selling a Sony Vaio laptop. It was retailing at about £1,000 at the time, and I sold it for 1p, and I sold 3 of them for a penny. And there was £7.99 delivery and a £1.53 phone call, granted, but someone all in got a Sony Vaio laptop for like a tenner.
It's,
Mate, I just searched for you and I managed to find your LinkedIn, so I've just sent you an invite.
Love that.
Brilliant.
that's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy. Small world. Yeah, I bought a bicycle from there for like 60 odd quid. Pretty decent.
Yeah, mate. If you watch it for long enough, you will buy something. And when
Yeah.
I first started, I was just like, I was an assistant producer, and I just had to sit in the gallery, and I was kind of doing bits for the show, but I was watching a lot of output. Like, you're talking like 8-10 hours a day. And by the first few weeks, I'd bought so much shit, and I was like, what is this? And I was like, this is how it gets the viewers. You have that channel on, and people will buy because there's so many persuasive techniques to sell. And
Yeah, you
sometimes
see those messages like 20 sold, 40 sold. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay, people are buying.
And it's all legit. Like, that is all linked up to the phone lines. And as a producer, you would control the price based on demand. So if loads of people want the item, then it ends up going for a good price. You make good profit. If no one wants it, or you're at like 2 a.m. in the morning, no one's watching because, I don't know, everyone's out, or you clashed with a big show. I remember working London 2012, the Olympics, opening ceremony, that Friday night opening ceremony. I was doing a Bid TV show, and literally the nation was watching the opening ceremony, right? So no one cared about me selling a bloody Wizzy mop, So yeah, it was jokes though. I enjoyed it. Best couple of years, to be fair. I love that.
That's brilliant, and things like that will set you up well for the you know what I mean, like going forward. You know,
Yeah, maybe that's the route to official FPL for me. I need to ask if they've got any vacancies, Bid TV.
You know what? If you'll see, yes, they went into administration when I finished because like people stopped wanting to buy from TV. They were buying online on websites, right?
That, yeah.
So, and it didn't work for our model because we didn't have fixed prices. So you couldn't really sell stuff online. But yeah, I mean, there's loads of sports presenters that have worked at Bid TV. So you look at the Sky Sports presenters, especially the women that used to do Sky Sports News, 3 or 4 of them came through Bid TV. And I include, I think Chloe Everton was one. I'm trying to think of some names.
Wow.
Charlotte Jackson, who's now married to the former Wales manager. What's his name at Wales? Chris Coleman.
Chris Coleman, yeah.
So yeah, she was a presenter. There's loads of them.
No way.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
Get a job at Bid TV and you're sorted. That's
So
amazing.
we were talking, Gianni, before we went live there about this season, and I know the 3 of us are kind of in very similar boats, hovering round about that kind of 500,000 mark kind of area. So it has been a bit of a crazy season for us. What's your kind of thoughts behind what's going on this season? And football team-wise, does your football team influence your decisions?
Yeah, good questions. I'm really glad you've asked me about kind of the current season because I produce like weekly content, like team reveals and watch-alongs, and I never talk about this. And this is probably the first time I have, so I'm really pleased to. It's a season like no other, and yeah, we can all say it's COVID and lack of planning, but to be fair, it's a level playing field for everyone. So I don't really think that. I think this season more than ever, it suited managers that are very happy to stick with a template. Managers that are very safe have been very well rewarded this season. Managers that are a little bit more maverick or a little bit more rogue or that like a punt or that like a differential, they've just been punished week after week after week.
Yes.
And I can't remember a season like that. Usually you're rewarded for that level of bravery. But this season, all these sort of the punts that are fairly obvious punts, but obvious punts that no one actually will go for other than the maverick managers, all those punts have just been flopping. And I don't know, I look at last week, for example, it made sense to transfer Son out for Bale. It just made sense. Son was injured. Bale was off the back of some good form. And Spurs were out the Europa. So Bale's minutes we didn't need to worry about his minutes being managed. But of course, Mourinho threw a spanner in the works. And now, those that made that transfer, i.e. me, need to go back from Bale to Son because Bale's probably not going to play and Son is safe. Oh, and by the way, Spurs now have a double game week in 32 where Son will play in both of those games. So, it's just little things like that. Every week there's something. But, I went this season early I committed to City.
Okay.
Game week 1, they didn't play. Game week 2, they played Wolves. They looked brilliant against Wolves. And I just thought it's the same City as Project Restart. I'm ditching Salah. I'm going triple City attack. And they went on a run where they scored like 6 goals in 8 games. This is Man City we're talking about, who eventually went on and smashed the league and scored all the goals. But right then, they didn't. And that was, I think that was a brilliant shout. But it just didn't pay off. Oh, and I missed out on having Salah because of it. So, things like that just kill you, don't they?
No, you're right.
Question that kind of stems from that previous one there, Jenny. But aside from the fact that managers that are more inclined to take risks like us, would you say your more public appearance with Fantasy Football Scout has caused you to play the game slightly different in any way?
Interesting, I like it.
Yeah, it's a really good one as well. I think it probably has. Like Toby will tell me it absolutely has, but that's him trying to get in my head for a mind game. And he'll tell me every week, you wouldn't have done that, in the good old days. I do think that there's times I probably go a little bit. I've either gone too safe or too rogue because I know people are watching. So, for example, last in Project Restart, I finished, 25k last season. So by game week 30, with 2 weeks to go, my captain decision was obviously really important. And with 2 weeks to go last season, I allowed my dog to pick my captain. And I did that.
Oh, mate, you and your dog are brilliant, by the way. What a double up. Name me a better double up on FPL Twitter, by the way. There isn't one.
Do you know what, Bruno? I've got you to thank because when COVID hit, I can't remember what channel it was, but you were doing something. Maybe it was with like Elite FPL or something. And
Yeah.
about COVID and what we could see off the back of it. And I remember standing there in my garden filming with my dog. He shared the tweet, and at the time I had like 500 followers. And yeah, so yeah, thank you for that. But no, I genuinely don't let the dog pick my captain. I do these videos because people request them and it's just fun. But I've never actually gone with what he says. I say Sharko's going to pick this guy. If you want to do it. But back in Project Restart, I actually went with it. And I did it because I knew there was a demand there for people to go, oh yeah, that'd be really funny if actually Foden bangs. And at the time, Foden was a massive rotation risk. And I did it because Sharko told me to. And it was all legit. But yeah. Would I have done that without people watching? Absolutely not. So yeah, it definitely sways you. And I think at times I've been a little bit perhaps rogue this season because I fancied Timo Werner, for example. I was like, I'd watched him in the Bundesliga. I really rated him. So even when he wasn't firing this season, I'm talking still first 10, 15 weeks, I was like, no, I'm going to prove a point, I'm going to keep him in my team. I should have binned him off early doors, but I was like, no, I'm going to do it to prove a point because I'm telling you all he's a really good player. Now, I was wrong on that, but in terms of his finishing, if you saw his miss last night, but I do think next season he might come round. But, things like that, I wouldn't have done if I didn't have an audience.
Yeah, mate, I'm the same as well. Like, to prove a point, that line is so apt to my season, especially with, what's gone on Twitter as far as I'm concerned and the nuisances I've created. Like, to prove a point has been, like, one of the main things why I've made certain decisions, Bruno out being one of them, which has actually not been the worst decision to make, right? But there's been so many players I've either not bought or I have bought, and not bought because the majority have him and I just want to inject the life out of everyone. And that's why I said from the end of the season I'm just going to stop that bullshit, because people have started thinking I'm an average, just a casual FPL manager, when I really do play this game quite seriously. The track record ain't that bad. So I want to get back to normal ways. But yeah, that's it. It's so true.
No, definitely.
Yeah, it is.
So, when you're saying there, Gianni, would you say that what kind of best way sums you up as an FPL manager? I mean, I know this season's been a bit of a, as you say, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Templates definitely suits templates. But in the style of way, that you play it, are you a bit more maverick?
Yeah, it's hard to put a term on. Do you know what? I don't think I could call myself maverick. I don't think I'm bold or brave enough. I'd say, I see managers like Bruno and Late Riser and FPL Flatjap, like people that I often look at. So those three managers' names I've mentioned, I often see their moves and go, that's something I would have done, or that's something I do. Yeah. But I don't know if I'm quite as extreme as them. But I don't know. I mean, in terms of playing style, I'm definitely someone that likes a differential. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely someone that's always on the hunt for a differential. And I've got a fairly good track record of bringing in players that others don't own. But it's very difficult now to do that. Because I'm in the kind of environment, talking FPL every day, people seeing my team, interacting with people on Twitter, you kind of see the thought process of loads of different types of managers. Yet before, I would compare myself just to the 5 in my mini league. Now I'm comparing myself to thousands of others. So there's always loads that are very similar to you. Yet if I look at my mini league rivals, I'm massively maverick. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I completely go against the grain. They will pick players based on who they see at the top of the points charts or top of the ownership charts. I'll pick players based on watching them and going, no one's got Peter Odden-Wingate at West Brom. He's about to score 5 games on the trot, which I remember him doing when I bought him in on, and he hadn't scored for them. And it was like, that's where I get a lot of my success and a lot of my joy from. For me, the best thing about FPL is having a differential that none of your mates own that bangs. And players like Peter Odden-Wingate will do that. Owning Bruno and Salah every week, I don't care if they bang and I own them. And even if I captain them and they bang, it doesn't really make me that happy because everyone else is in the same boat. I want to get an edge. Nope. So differentials give you that edge.
No,
Gianni, you can't go Peter Odden-Wingate, mate, honestly, because for all you know, the following week he's going to turn up at Liverpool and you're going to have 4 assets.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
So we've got
good old days.
Got a couple more questions here then, Gianni, and then we'll dive over into Twitter and also some of the questions.
Mate, 75% of the Twitter questions are about Gianni's hair, so I don't think it will take too much time there, to be honest.
Well, hey, we've got to ask. Twitter's fear have asked the question, but no, we need to ask.
It's all a wig. It's all a toupee. It's all a wig.
But no, I'll let you ask your tower one, and then I'll
I'm
finish
going to
off
ask
with the
a
usual.
separate question before that one. Really keen to know. I don't know if there's going to be any conflict of interest with this question. However, are there any particular FPL content creators or podcasts that you lean towards, like listening? I think you don't. You tend not to listen to too much, if I've read you correctly. But if there was any, are there any in particular?
Yeah, do you know what? It's a real shame because if I didn't play so seriously, I would absorb so much content because there's so much good content out there. But
Yeah.
I know for me, the best way of me playing my game is to not listen to too much in terms of outside source. So therefore, I consciously have to switch off to loads of the good material. I'm a football fan more than an FPL fan. Even though I'm an absolute FPL obsessive, I'm even more a football obsessive, right? So all of my spare time, if I'm listening to podcasts, for example, I walk the dog every morning, I'll listen to a pod every morning. I choose to listen to football pods rather than FPL pods, and that actually helps my FPL game because there might be players that are coming into the league and I know them because I have a good rounded knowledge of European football or whatever, or formations or playing styles, things like that can help your FPL game. But no, there's definitely some, I love the guys on the wire, for example. I don't listen every week, but when I'm on the FPL show, I have a 2-hour drive down to London, so to prep for that, I purposely put the wire in because I know that one thing I'm not very good at in FPL is absorbing stats. I don't enjoy stats. I'm not a spreadsheet type of guy. I've never used websites that provide you with all the stats like Scout and Hub and Fix until recently because I enjoy watching games and in a way I get a lot of my data from just the eye test. But I equally know there's a huge amount of good resources out there that I don't enjoy consuming, but I'm very happy to see people posting about it on Twitter or to hear a podcast where people are really delving into stats. In a way, essentially, those guys, when I listen to The Wire, they're doing my job they're doing the bit of FPL I don't like for me. So I just have to put my earphones in and they're giving me all the juicy bits, all the stats, which I know you can get loads of good quality data from. But I'm not going to find that data myself because of just my personality type. I don't enjoy that element, that spreadsheet style of stuff.
No, it's interesting to hear you saying that, I think, don't you, Boona?
Gianni's answered my next question there.
All right, what was that?
I just wanted to just really understand, like, the source of your decision making. So, would you say then you were far more leaning towards the eye test than from what you've seen yourself, as opposed to stats, or is there a balance? And there's a few things that people take into consideration. You've got the eye test, you've got stats. I personally also read quite deep into history of certain players against teams and how they've performed in the past, which teams I like playing against. What would you say, kind of sums up your approach?
Yeah, all I can think, right, is all my best finishes that happened before I was part of, like, the FPL community. So if I go back a couple of years, so I don't know, from 2007 to 2017, all that time, I did nothing other than just watch games. And all my best finishes came then. So I wasn't on Twitter. I didn't look at stats. I didn't have any third-party help. So whilst I know those things can massively help, and back then, by the way, of course, it was easier to get good finishes because there was fewer people playing. But if I think back to basic, the number one thing for me is watching football and just watching a huge amount of it. But of course, I fully appreciate the stats can lead you to good decisions. For example, Boona, I know you own him, and I bought in Veltman a couple of weeks ago. I bought in Veltman because I was told to bring in Veltman from everyone on Twitter that was posting all the amazing stats about Veltman and Brighton's defence. We knew that Brighton were due clean sheets. They had they were up there with the best sort of expected goals conceded. They just weren't getting them. And there was a 4.3 million Dutchman that was at the time playing right wing back, and he was created 13 chances in the last 7 weeks or whatever it was. And you see that data and go, okay, I could have seen some of that from watching games, but probably wouldn't have been as clear. And if it had been clear, all fingers wouldn't have pointed necessarily to Veltman. They might have just pointed to Brighton. I'd have gone, Brighton have been really unlucky. So, you definitely need those stats, but would I have found them on my Todd? Probably not. So it's very welcome to listen to good shows or good pods on Twitter.
Veltman is the prime example, though, and for me especially, and I'll tell you why. It really resonates with the luck versus skill debate, and the reason why I say that is, whilst the statistics really backed that kind of, Veltman was that marauding right wing forward. When I brought him in, he got shifted over to the left. He was playing left back or left wing back.
Yeah, left centre back at times,
and he didn't go hard. He didn't go nowhere near the front. However, he jammed that assist all the way from that left back position. And that was just that one chance he created.
Yeah,
just to show how much luck kind of comes into this, because that wasn't something that we deserved. Like we didn't expect that to happen, but we got lucky.
Yeah, it was a long ball over the top, wasn't it? It was like that weren't an assist. That was just a very good long pass. But I look at that, Luna. I look at that and go, yeah, it was a long ball over, but that same game, Trossard got an assist for a 5-yard sideways pass. And Welbeck stuck it in from 30 yards. So, swings and roundabouts. But
I'm pretty sure someone put it into Trossard. He literally just controlled it. Welbeck took it off him and just finished it. Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So you can get all the data in the world, and then it goes, okay, he's not a right wing back. He's playing left centre back and not crossing the halfway line. So you're not going to get any attack in return. So it's a funny one.
Yeah, we've spoke about it before, Boona, haven't we? I know you definitely look at a lot more stats than what I do, but a couple of seasons ago was my prime example, Gianni. I was 300 and odd in the world, and thought, better start taking this a bit more serious. And up until that point, similar to you, all I was doing was watching football and basing decisions.
When you start taking it more seriously that you fuck it up, doesn't
it? Yeah. And I suppose that's a kind of question in itself. Who's putting the pressure? It's us that are putting the pressure on ourselves in this game. Yeah. That's where the problem really comes from. Do you know what I mean? But I started looking at stats and just confused the life out of me. And then you start following the crowd, and you see that
there's too many stats. That's the problem. You might look at something from one angle, right? For example, you might look at X team, who's one of their players you're looking to bring in, and their stats. But then you need to look at the flip side of the team that they're facing, and how does their defense. And it gets too much.
Yeah,
it does get too. There's too much to comprehend, and you need to offset one against the other. And that's why I just say, if you were to pick one, stick with the eye test. You're seeing who's playing well on a weekly basis. Look at the fixtures. I'm fixtures over form. I know a lot of people are form over fixtures. Where do you sit on that, Jenny?
That's a really hard one. I think I'll probably look at fixture. I'm probably slightly way towards fixture, but I am balanced. And going back to when you said the eye test, for me, I completely agree. If you're going to do one thing, it is eye test. And also, you can't forget why you play this game, right? You play FPL because of your love of football. And if you love football, you watch football. Now, it really annoys me that because I know there are people out there, and there's very few of them, but there's some people out there that play FPL that don't watch any football or even have an interest in football.
I know a few.
Completely off stats, and it winds me up that they can have success with it, because for me that's going against the beautiful game.
Like Joshua that we had, and he won it last year, and that's what exactly he said.
Yeah, he didn't watch much.
Did he watch any? Or I think he might have only watched a few games.
Josh, we can't stand you, son. If you're listening back, mate, don't do it again.
Right, I'm following him on Twitter right now.
But he did, and I think that's just because of his background as a mathematician and stuff like that. He's very much into his stats, etc. But he hardly watched any football at all. Just went based purely off stats, or up to the majority. But
Lama, what we'll do is let's skip the tower question. Let's go straight to the pass or smash.
Yeah.
And then let's go quickly through the Twitter questions, and I don't want to neglect the live chat as well.
Nah.
So you crack on with that question that you usually ask.
Definitely. Right, Gianni, you need to put your mind into this situation, mate. You okay? So get yourself ready and focused. So it's the final seconds of a Champions League final, and you are through on goal, and you're 1-on-1 with the keeper. You're just about to lace your boot through the ball when out the corner of your eye, you see your teammate standing there. Now, you know that if you pass to him, surely he's not going to miss. He's got an open goal. You're the one that's 1-on-1 with the keeper. However, Gianni, it's you that's got the ball at your feet. So what are you doing, mate? Are you smashing it, or are you passing it?
Do you know what? I was always the kid at school that played centre back. I wanted to because I'd watched a lot of Italian football, my favourite players were centre backs. I wanted to be last line of defence rather than first line of attack. I got more enjoyment out of blocking goals than scoring them. I was a real team player, and I think that probably gives you a hint as to where I'm going to go with this. All day long, I pass, and that's not because I don't fancy myself to score. That's because we've got a better chance, and I'm not in it for personal glory.
That is quite all right. It's you that had the ball at your feet, and you could have done whatever you wanted, and you've passed it, and that's fine. You just now hope that your teammate scores.
Yeah, I mean, if I know the teammate's pants, like I'm not going to give him the ball. But
Cool. Right, we've got some Twitter's questions in, Boona. I don't know if you want to kick them off. I'll start diving into the chat, and if you want, we'll just tic-tac between the two.
Yeah, brilliant. So we've got at Joseph Melvin saying, my question this week would be, what do you reckon the Chelsea front three would look like? Personally, I see 3-4-2-1 with Giroud, Pulisic, and Ziyech or Havertz. I currently own Mount and Werner. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, 3-4-2-1's definitely nailed like all season. I think the front three that will get the most game time between now and the end of the season, because of course it's Tuchel, there's going to be a lot of rotation.
Yeah.
So the front three, I think Havertz and Mount will probably get the most minutes, and I think Ziyech will probably not be too far behind. So I could see this weekend, for example, don't be surprised to see Mount and Havertz behind. Mount and Ziyech behind Havertz as the number 9. Werner will play number 9 in a fair few games between now and the end of the season, but always against teams that are fairly high pressing and will have the ball. So, when we played Liverpool, of course, Werner was the 9. But when we play West Brom, it will be Havertz. So Werner will only be the 9 when there's loads of space in behind. So Havertz will probably get a lot of minutes as the number 9, which makes him quite attractive from an FPL perspective. And then Mount and Ziyech will be the most popular assets in those numbered inside forward roles. But Pulisic will get minutes. And Hudson-Odoi will get minutes in there as well as, of course, Hudson-Odoi at wing back. But if you're looking for minutes, which you always should in FPL, then, Mount, Havertz and Ziyech would be the 3.
Did Mount feature last night? I didn't watch.
Yeah, he did. I think, do you know what he played?
Worry.
He played 90, and he was an injury doubt, wasn't it? And he still got 90, and he's just Southgate's boy. Foden was subbed off on the 81st minute, I think it was, but Mount stayed on.
What player, though? He's been brilliant this season.
Yeah, he has been.
Have you still got him in your team?
Me? No, I got rid of him quite some time ago before he hit form, unfortunately. I did get a goal out of him, though, but I'm tempted to bring him back. But the fact that he had that injury doubt and he's played 90, I'm not sure if I'm going to go there. And
you also
Werner,
know with Mount, he'll play in all the cup games as well, because he's like one of the most important players. So he's going to need some rests, and will that come in the Premier League? Maybe.
Oh yeah, 100%. If Chelsea could play him in their under 21, to still play him there as well on Sundays, day after. But yeah, Werner, he's a topic of his own, isn't he? What's your thoughts on him, just really, really quickly?
I think you avoid at all costs. Proper example of a striker needing confidence. He missed a penalty in Frank Lampard's last goal.
Did you see his open goal missed last night?
Oh, so bad. Gundogan, by the way, put it on a plate for him last night. What a player, carrying even the German team.
The mind boggles.
But yeah, Werner will be one for next season, maybe, when his price drops, and he might even be down as a midfielder next year. So yeah,
maybe it's his FPL price that's causing this downturn in form. Maybe it's that it's weighing heavy on him. Moving on, though, we've got a question from Mahir Sardesai from WhatsApp. It's a real serious one, this Gianni, and he asks, "How do you get good hair?"
That's a tough.
Oh, do you know what? People often look at my hair, right, and think I spend ages doing it, and I spend ages in front of the mirror because they just assume that's sort of me as my personality type or whatever. Genuinely, I'm the laziest bloke in terms of appearance. I don't want to be that guy that's just like, I roll out of bed and my hair looks perfect, and it doesn't. Of course it doesn't, but I don't spend time on it, and it's often might look good on camera, but in real life, I'm just being clever with lighting and angles, right? So there's not much to it, mate. I'm not well groomed at all. But what I would say is, in terms of product, there's only one thing I put in, and it's this powder that's like, I think it's Schwarzkopf, and it's a little purple bottle, and I think it's probably in the women's section of like Boots and Superdrug. It's like, it gives your hair volume, so you can put this powder in, and it's like a white powder, and you just put it in your hair, and it gives it a little bit of texture. But it's very floppy, and I just let it do what it wants.
Interesting. We've got two further questions. Two further questions from I'm in a WhatsApp group with Az, and we've got these two lads in there. One called Maciek, and he asked. Oh, well, he doesn't ask. He has a statement to make. Johnny, he goes, the most handsome lad in FPL, and Alex, who asks, yes, ask him about his skincare routine, please.
Gianni, I
man.
hope you did know when you came in this lounge this afternoon that it was definitely not going to be just FPL questions.
Yeah, I definitely knew that. I definitely knew Bruno was setting me up. But no, do you know what? I'm listening to myself talk like I just did about my hair, and I can hear myself speaking so passionately about it, which is going against the fact that I'm saying I don't spend time in front of the mirror. But I can see in the chat, Tim says, "Is it baby powder?" No, it's a hair product powder. It's like £4. It's a purple bottle. When you're in Superdrug or Boots, other cosmetic places available, just ask them for the hair powder for volumizing. But skincare, I don't have one. I moisturize probably 3 times a week.
There you go. There you go.
It's my wife has bought me a moisturizer. She usually buys me one for Christmas, and I think it's her telling me like she wants me to stay young.
Is it Schwarzkopf Professional Osis Plus Dust It Texture? Is that the one? Is it a red bottle?
Yeah, that I thought it's purple, but they might have a new red one.
Rounded.
It's do you know what? It's called B. It's B2B. It's part of like the sub.
Got to be.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Got to be perfect.
Right, guys. I'll put the link in the chat for those that are interested. We've actually got some FPL questions as well, Gianni. You'll be pleased to hear. Got a question from a regular, John Magic. Who has been your most memorable moment? No, what has been your most memorable moment from this season so far, and what's been the worst, if you recall?
Oh yeah, memorable. God, do you know what? This season's been so horrible. I can't tell you any highlights. I don't think I can pick one. I think my memorable moment will still come, and I've still got my free hit, and I hope it's around that. And I'm unlike most, I've not used a free hit in a blank game week, and I'm still not planning on using it in a blank. I'm hoping we get some juicy doubles in 35, and I'm gonna have 11 double game weekers when most probably have 5 or 6, and it will be double game weekers that others don't have. Like it could be a Leicester double, it could be Vardy, for example. So I'm hoping to be a little bit rogue with that. And the worst memory was probably captaining Werner for him. Blanking against Newcastle, I think it was. Where he missed like 3 1-on-1s. He hit the post, and I think he maybe got an assist. But I was doing a watch along with it, and I was like, never again will I do a watch along captain a player, especially not Timo Werner. But yeah, in terms of FPL, my worst memory is last season. Do you remember on Boxing Day, Trent Alexander-Arnold got 24 points against Watford? It was a record-breaking score for the
Leicester, wasn't it? It was Leicester away.
That was it. It was Leicester, not Watford. And I had just wildcarded to use my wildcard before game week 20, or whatever it was. And my plan was bring Trent out for 2 weeks because he had Leicester and someone else. So I bought him out for 2 weeks. And the week I bought him out, literally the day after I bought him out, 24 points, record breaker. That killed me.
I didn't have him either. Painful that was.
Do you know what? Yeah, that was horrible. Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I did have a Loughton goal and clean sheet someone put in the chat. Anil, I don't know if that's your highlight, but yeah, that probably is mine as well. I had Loughton.
Oh yeah, we've got a lot of people that do a lot of research for Buna and I here, so the good chance he's dug that one out for you there.
Brilliant. Also got a question from Team. He actually put it in Discord, and he said, serious question for Gianni. For a team that is very template and sitting around 600k overall, what are your thoughts on going really wild with punts? He's got the triple captain left, and Kane is the obvious option, but a bit put off because it's what most people with triple captain left will be doing.
Yeah, no, stay with it. Stay with your triple captain plans. Like Kane in the double game week 32. I can't tell you to do anything else but that. Don't try and be too clever for it. Your differential will be that most people have already spunked their triple captain, myself included, on a very injured KDB. So keep with it. I mean, if you're going for mini league success or overall rank, that's the question you need to ask yourself. And we should all ask ourselves that, right? If we're going for mini league success, try and buy some players that people in your mini league don't have. If you're going for overall rank, then don't be too rogue. But look, for me, there's not much difference between finishing 500k and 900k. You're probably unhappy with both. So have a little bit of fun with it. But things like not captaining Kane in a double game week, I wouldn't advise. Play safe.
Jenny, as far as transfers go for this weekend, are we both bringing Alonso in then, or what's your situation?
Do you know what? I'm waiting for the Mourinho press conference. If I think there's a chance Bale could start for Spurs, then I keep Bale. If I don't, then maybe I make the Son to Bale switch. But I do want to get a Chelsea defender in, and I am very, very swayed.
Needed, isn't it?
Alonso.
Look at those fixtures.
Yeah,
And they
and
have
do you know what? I was
33.
set
No,
on.
they don't have a 33, do they? That's the only downfall.
I can't remember. No, I think they do. I think Chelsea
they?
do in 33. Check it out. I think they do.
If they do, then yeah, I'm 100% right.
But yeah, I mean, I was set on Rudiger, but I just want, because of my rank. And again,
Oh,
if
they
I was
do.
at 10k, I'd probably go Rudiger, but I'm not. I'm at 600k, so I'm going Alonso. I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, you and me
Definitely.
both. Whack on the captain, the armband for size.
What were you saying about game week 33? Chelsea have got West Ham.
No, I thought they had a blank bill. No, that makes it even more of a no-brainer transfers because I'm trying to bring in someone for that. I've got FPL tips in the chat. Jenny saying who's the best midfielder in the Premier League.
Oh, my boy Mason all day long.
Typical.
No, to be fair, I mean, it depends what you're looking for. Like,
They pre-planned that one, Llama.
I love Mason
Like it.
all day long, but do you know what I'm a massive fan of in terms if we're looking at midfielders? And I'll get a lot of hate for this, but Jorginho is such a good midfielder. When Pep Guardiola couldn't buy Jorginho, and it was almost a done deal, he decided not to buy anyone for a year, and then he got Rodri a year later. Like Pep Guardiola was set on Jorginho. Mourinho has in the past called him the best midfielder in the world. I think
Seriously, I don't see it.
Yeah, do you know what? He's so
Does he do the dirty work? Is that what it is? He just goes unnoticed.
yeah, a little bit. He does get stuck in. He's just because he's so slow. He gets hammered by fans because if he's left in space, he's vulnerable. But in terms of keeping possession, there's not a better passer in the league, in my opinion.
Wow.
Well, KDB, sorry, KDB is the best passer in the league, but Jorginho's a close second. And yeah, but favorite player in the league, head and shoulders above the rest, is KDB. Like he's truly the best player this league has, in my opinion.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. What we'll do is we'll run through the questions from the chat, make sure that they don't get neglected, Llama. If you want to scroll up to the top as well, we'll go through them one by one. I'll start with a really cool question from GK16.
Yeah, that was the
And
one
he
I was
asked,
just sat on.
Imagine the effective ownership debate turns violent, Jenny. Who wins in a boxing match between Mark and Az?
Oh. Do you know what? I think Mark's probably got who's the tall? Az is about 6
Mark's
foot.
taller.
Mark is taller, but then Az is probably got, I don't know, a little bit stronger. I think Az would do him, you know.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
Also,
I'm screen record this. I'll act Mark. Yeah, so go on.
Az is the younger of the two, right? So Az is my age. Mark's probably 40. So I think Az would be a little bit more youthful. Also, I know Az plays a bit of five-a-side, so he's probably got a little bit better cardio.
I'm not sure about that, mate. I played football with him. His cardio is terrible.
Oh, I love it. Have you?
Yeah.
I think Az would just edge it on
You're
points.
do you play football, Jenny?
I do, but not for a while. I've not played
Yeah.
obviously since lockdown, but yeah,
So for the
still
first-
football about.
apart from last year, with FF Scout, they always do charity football tournament every summer. So I've done it for the last 3. That's where I met like David Monday and Az. That's a good laugh. You got to come to the next one, mate. It'd be brilliant.
Oh, I look forward to that. Okay, I didn't know they even did that. It's a great shout.
Go on, Llama.
Sam Pile. This is the guy, Gianni, that does a lot of our kind of memes and stuff that you see over on Twitter.
Yeah.
Usually the game week after international break is a bit wibbly wobbly, as the great poet Nathan Bacon would say. Which players does Gianni think have the least chance of disappointment?
Yeah,
who you hitting, and that's it.
Yeah, I'd be looking at players that didn't play a huge amount, and I always like off the back of international breaks players that have stayed away that haven't been called up for whatever reason. So someone like Son. Yeah, he's been injured, but he's probably fine, and he'll see that as a rest. So Son could hit the ground running. I think Alonso at Chelsea, we've mentioned, part of the appeal with Alonso is Chilwell will be exhausted. Alonso would have had a nice amount of time off and would have been training with the manager. So I'd go Alonso and Son would be 2 I'd be looking at this week.
Nice one, thank you for that. Nick Davis, good evening to you in the chat. In terms of overall rank, what should be considered a good season? Top 1%, about 81,000 this year. Is that the holy grail that people should aim for, Gianni, in your view?
For me, all day long, like I wrote a book about top 1%, so I have to say it. But
What's it called? What's it called? Let's plug it quickly. So,
Yeah,
do you remember when I posted about the waste in the wild card? Remember you?
So it's Fantasy Premier League, unlocking the secrets to a top 1% finish. Very long title, I know. Paperback's actually currently sold out, but we are looking to reprint it. But you can buy the Kindle version. And yeah, for me, I got a lot of stick actually because we weren't in the community when we released this book. And when we sort of first joined it, and there was quite a few big names going, I won't mention any names, but going, who's this idiot writing a book about top 1%? It's all about the top 10K. And I'm like, hang on a sec. Top 10K might be achievable for you because you spend your life on a data website giving you so much good stuff. But there's a lot of managers out there that would love a top 1% finish. And for them, top 10K is very unlikely to happen. And we're seeing top 10K is becoming increasingly more difficult. So I actually like the fact that the top 1% of anything puts you in a top category, right? You could be the top 1% of, I don't know, whatever, and you're good because you're in the best. You're better than 99% of others. So whilst top 10K is seen by many as the holy grail, for me it's top 1% because it's more achievable. We didn't write the book for those that spend their life on FPL. We wrote the book for those that enjoy the game, and those that enjoy the game, 1% would be amazing.
No, definitely, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I did actually look for that, but now that'll be the reason why there was no paperbacks available. Now that you've just told me, but I did have a look for that actually a wee while ago.
Toby's replied to my when I shared this live stream out on Twitter. Did you see it, Gianni? He goes,
No, I don't think so.
10 in 13.
Beat me to it. Love that. So no, the paperback will be back by the end of the season. It should be back available. Pretty much, we couldn't believe the response we got, and we did like 2 print runs, and both times they sold out quite quickly. So we will be doing another.
No, and
quick question as well from one of our regulars, Nihal. He actually did put a question on Twitter. I missed it, and he said, "Was Zola the reason that Gianni supports Chelsea? There's a consensus that Italians don't do well in the Premier League. Any reason to this, in his opinion?"
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Bedford in like.
And you're up the road from me. Wow.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm Bedford. I mean, so you're probably half an hour away. I'm not in Bedford anymore, but that's where I grew up. And there's more Italians. And by the way, guys, I don't need to. I got a good 10 minutes or so.
No worries.
I don't need to. So I'm looking for a football team, right? I've been bought an AC Milan shirt. That's my dad's team. I watch Italian football, but all the mates at school, they all support English teams. So my mum bought me a United shirt, and I was like, hang on a sec. No, I don't want to support Man United. Like everyone supports them. And Chelsea have got some good players from Serie A. At the time, Ruud Gullit had signed. Marcel Desailly came over from AC Milan. They're Di Matteo and Zola, the Italian lads. And I was like, I'm going to support Chelsea. And in Bedford, because there's not a professional team, you could travel half an hour south and support Luton, half an hour east and support Cambridge, half an hour north to Northampton. But there was no team in Bedford. So everyone in Bedford ends up supporting a London team in the Premier League. Loads of Arsenal fans, loads of Tottenham fans. So I was like, Chelsea, I could still go watch games, and they got loads of Italians. So off the back of that, I became a Chelsea fan. At the time, we were shit. Like, we won the FA Cup in '97, but we were never a top team. And I was there at Wembley in 2000, FA Cup final, the last FA Cup final at Wembley, when Di Matteo scored like a tap-in against Aston Villa in a 1-0 win. But since then, obviously, we've had Roman's money, and everyone sees people at my age as a Chelsea fan and thinks you're probably a bit of a glory supporter. But it wasn't like that at all. Like when I supported Chelsea, we were sort of top 6, but no better.
Brilliant, mate. Honestly, we could talk for hours, but I'm conscious that you need to get off as well. But just before we end up wrapping the stream, Gianni, there's a sentence there from Team. If it's PG, I'm only joking. It doesn't matter if it's PG or not. What's he actually said there in Italian?
Let me see it. Oh, do you know what? Is he saying if am I Italian? Do you know what? I don't even know. I'm dreadful.
I think it is. I think it's Gianni. Ti parli l'italiano?
Mate, that's better than your pronunciation of Aspilicueta. Bloody hell.
Right.
Does he
He's
speak
saying
it or not?
I speak. Yeah, parli is speak. So non capisco would be I don't understand, which I'm used to saying because I used to go to Italy every summer to visit grandparents who don't speak English. And I've also, like the last Euros in France, I went to every Italy game, and I'm there with my Italy shirt on, face paint, surrounded by Italian fans, and I can't communicate with them. I'm a massive fake, right? And I feel dreadful for it. But yeah, it's real. I'm looking at my wall at the moment. I'm looking at 7 Italy shirts and a flag with the 4 World Cups on, and so I feel massively Italian. And when it comes to football, I am. But yeah, unfortunately,
You've got an Italian team, though, have you? Like you've got, or have you? Because you've got like shirts from multiple teams. I've seen that.
Yeah, I just collecting.
I'm just a
them.
lover. I'm just a lover of Serie A. Like my
Yeah, I
dad's
love
Milan. My dad's Milan, so I guess he would say I should be Milan. But I've always had a soft spot for Juve, and I just love any Italian
You've
team
got
in
Roma
Europe.
as well, haven't you?
Roma, Lazio, Inter. I just love Italian football, and I hope they return to the glory days.
I love Italian food.
Oh yes,
Love that. Yeah, all day.
Eh,
Sorry, Tim. Yeah, I didn't fully understand your question, but one day I will learn. And my dad's biggest regret in life, he always says, like, I'm gutted I never spoke to you as a kid in Italian, because he's from Italy, and I hear him all the time speaking to his brother or his family, always in Italian, and there I am being like, oh, sorry, Dad, I didn't quite understand that. What are you saying? And it's like, oh, hang on, how has this kid not learned it? So one day I will.
Gianni, a bit of a personal question for you, just for myself. My fiance loves and wants to go to Italy at some point, right? She wanted me. She said to me, "Oh, I want you to propose to me in Italy." So obviously, COVID happened, and I ended up proposing here locally. But if there was one area you would recommend, where would it be in Italy to kind of visit from wanting to get an authentic kind of Italian vibe?
I'm so pleased you've asked me this, because so my family is Sicilian, but I'm not actually going to suggest Sicily, although it's brilliant. And there's so many amazing places to explore, and obviously places like Milan and Venice and Florence in the north are great, and Rome is brilliant. But my favourite place, and it's where I went on my honeymoon, and it was just a really low key sort of little town, and we just Airbnb'd it for our honeymoon. But it was beautiful, and it's about an hour south of Naples, and it's called it's the Amalfi Coast. So
that's where she wanted me to propose. I know.
Right. It's the most beautiful,
isn't it?
coastline.
Beautiful.
You've got little towns like Sorrento, and there's a little island which is mega expensive called Capri, which is where loads of celebs will go on holiday. But you can go there for like a day or whatever. So the island of Capri, they do like ferry trips there. But honestly, all round Sorrento, the Amalfi coastline, and it's only an hour south of Naples, so you can fly to Naples. Is the most beautiful place in the world for me.
Is there a lot to do there? And how much time do you recommend spending at? Can you spend a week out there? Or is that too long?
Yeah, no, you can, because it's still got the beachy vibes, and just the little coffee shops and the restaurants, and then you can go on day trips to like Capri, but also there's, I think, is it Mount Vesuvius that's there's a big volcano, and there's a bit of history to it, and there's a few tours around that which are really fascinating.
I'm going to make a note of that for Margaret.
Yeah, mate, do honestly. Like
honestly,
I know a lot of people beeline to like really exotic sort of honeymoon places, but my wife was just like, "No, I really want to go to the Amalfi Coast." We got a Ryanair flight and an Airbnb, and it was amazing. And also, somehow, I managed to swing in a game at the Sao Paulo, so we went to see a Napoli game on my honeymoon as well.
Nice, I like
great.
that.
Yeah.
Amalfi. Right, I've got that written down.
Yeah.
Honestly, you'll be mind blown by how beautiful it is, Lama. When you check it out, it's stunning.
I'll have a look.
I can see Paulie in the chat says his best holiday was to Sicily, where he went on an AC Milan soccer camp, which is awesome. So that's where my dad's from, and in Sicily, there's not a massive amount of options in terms of Serie A teams. Palermo are the biggest team, but they're like Serie B now. So loads of them just support Milan. So my dad, although from Sicily, and interesting, Paulie went to AC Milan soccer camp in Sicily. It's literally, it must be 500 miles away. Like it's the other end of the country. But it's still loads of AC Milan fans, which is awesome.
Excellente. I mean, Buna.
Time flies, doesn't it? Time flies.
I know, it's crazy. And we could have kept on going.
We could have gone on for a while, but
definitely.
You know.
I know. Well, do you know what? I've got 5 minutes till my wife's going to be calling, so we can. Time, but
it's fine.
That's fine. Because
I know that you have the opportunity to plug yourself as well. Not that no one doesn't know who you are, but if people want to, get to know you more and follow you, where could they find you, Gianni?
Yeah, like check me out on Twitter. But one thing I'd say, like, if you like any of my content, the one thing that we've had like loads of reviews from, and that I'm really sort of most proud of, like, it's cool doing team reveal vids and going on the FPL show and stuff, but I wrote a book on FPL, and I know we mentioned it, and I know the paperback's not available, but It's the only FPL book out there that has been written to help you improve your game. Like I've got a copy of Wasting Your Wildcard as well. Very different book, but
Yeah.
FPL Unlocking the Secrets to a Top 1% Finish will hopefully improve your game. And we've had loads of people saying that, I wish I read this 5 years ago. And the best thing about writing that book was we didn't know about podcasts and YouTube shows. We didn't know that there was an FPL community on Twitter. We were just two mates in a group of 6 in a mini league that happened to have some good finishes and spend a lot of time on FPL, sort of by watching the FPL show. It was the only thing we used to do, Toby and I. So to have written a book about it that's very original, like when you're in the community, you organically will pick up loads of stuff from other people, and those thoughts aren't always your own, but the book is completely written from what we interpret FPL as, without using any outside help or outside sources. So we've had some people say this is stuff they've not heard before, this is stuff that's new to them, because it's not the same stuff you will see on Twitter, for example.
Perfect.
So if you can, check it out. It's £5 on Amazon. The paperback was at £8. If you can't wait till we reprint, which might be another 3-4 months, then check out the Kindle version or ebooks on Apple. It's definitely worth it.
What we'll do is we'll get that tweeted out straight after the show, like the link to get it.
Oh,
the
nice
Kindle
one.
version.
Yeah.
We'll get that
FPL
tweeted out.
FPL Diary on Twitter. So tag them. That's our joint account.
Perfect.
And by the way, I'm not plugging this because we make money from it. Like it's like we make like 20p a book or something. So I genuinely want you guys to have it because I think it's probably the best value you could spend if you're going to buy something of FPL. That's it for a £5. You'll get a lot of knowledge. But yeah, I mean, I've spoken a lot about that, so I'll come off the book chat. But it was just cool to do it with Toby, who's a very talented writer.
No, thank you very much for that.
Our guest next week, Gianni, you might be able to introduce him. You've done some Insta Lives with him.
You got Ben on?
Got Ben coming on next week. Tell the chat just before you finish a little bit about Ben. What's your thoughts?
People always ask me what like my must-follow Twitter accounts are, and I always say the two Bens. Like one is the fixture man and one is the injuries man, and Ben to me is just the a massive go-to, and also just a wicked guy. Like what he's done with Premier Injuries is like the go-to, not just for people in the FPL community, but Premier League football clubs will use.
Is that his own website? Or is he working for someone?
No, that's his own. That's his creation. Yeah, and I know there's Premier League football clubs that will use that, and I know even like when I'm on the FPL show, I know that the producer Tom will go on Premier Injuries to check injury news. So he's just become the go-to, which is awesome and fair play. Like he dedicates his life to being the most in the know with regards to injuries. He's got good contacts at clubs with physios as well. So yeah, he's a great guy.
Should I ask him about Newcastle, or is that a bit sensitive?
Nah, ask him because do you know what? Because we've not spoken in a few months, like properly. We stopped doing the Insta Lives just because of other work. But I used to always really enjoy getting his insight into Newcastle. But obviously he's a passionate fan, so he's probably struggling a bit this year. But I don't know what his thoughts on Bruce are. I'm guessing he's probably wants some fresh management in there, but I'll be tuning in next week, mate. I really look forward to you guys chatting with me.
Yeah, that should be really interesting.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And like as we do, like with all our guests, and obviously yourself this evening, it's just a privilege and an honour. And thank you very much for popping by and saying hello. Just to say thanks quickly before we do go to Sean. So Sean, I just seen what's his face. I just lost his name. What's that manager that just popped up and gave us a thumbs up there for subscribing? Roy. Roy Hodgson.
Oh, Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, just seen his face pop up with a thumbs up. So thanks very much for that, Sean. Anyone else that's new that hasn't already subscribed, hopefully you've enjoyed it. This is the type of content that Buna and I typically do provide you with on a Thursday evening, interviewing the best that there is in our circle of FPL. So thank you very much for that, Sean, and if you want to hit a like, it's much appreciated. Gianni, thank you very much again on behalf of the lounge, Buna and the rest of the chat. I just wish you all the best, and as I say, thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me, guys, and I look forward to hopefully next season you'll have me back and I'll give you an update on hopefully a better season. So yeah, look forward to chatting again in the new year, which I can't wait for the new season if I'm honest.
Definite.
But likewise, we got another good big 8-9 weeks ahead of us. So yeah, good luck for the rest of this one, and yeah, speak to you guys soon.
No,
Brilliant.
you too.
Take care, all. Good night.
Thank you, news.
See you guys.
Cheers.
I wish I found some better sounds no one's ever heard. I wish I had a better voice that sang some better words. I wish I found some chords in an order that is new. I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. I was told when I get older all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what people think.
My name's Blurry Face and I care what you think. My name's Blurry Face and I care what you think.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're still stuck.